Do you have a side business? Maybe an online business using Facebook Marketplace or some other platform? Are you wondering if it's time to level up your online business by forming a company?
The pandemic has destroyed a lot of jobs, but it's also created a lot of entrepreneurs and opportunities. Many of us have decided to take action by having a side business to augment or even replace our salaries. But when it starts to work, how do you know that it's time to level up? Our question today comes from Chesca, and she asks, Attorney, my online reselling business is starting to do well. My friends tell me that the best thing to do now is to turn my business into a company for legal protection. How do I know it's the right time to form a company? Is the company the best way to do business? If you're in the same position as Chesca, stick around because we have some tips for you.
This episode is brought to you by The Business Structure, a workshop that teaches entrepreneurs and business owners the different types of business vehicles available. It provides the pros and cons of each vehicle so that they can choose the best one for their business model. Reach your success with the right business vehicle. Go to info.legalguide.ph/business to learn more. Welcome to Legal Guide Philippines, where we simplify the law to help you make better choices. I'm attorney Ramon Ramirez, and I'm with my partner.
Attorney Erwin Zagal. So today we're talking about leveling up your side business. A lot of us think that the next logical step is to register a company or register something with the government. But how do I know it's the right time to form a company? What are the things to consider before doing this? So let's start with what the law says about this. Attorney Ramon, when does the law require us to formally set up a company?
Right. So, well, the short answer is it doesn't. The law doesn't say, okay, at this point, you should start your company. You should
Wala.
No, there's no threshold. When it is time to take your business to the next level or form a company or whatever is what we call a business decision. So that decision has to be made by the entrepreneur or the businessman.
As opposed to a legal decision.
Yes. Okay. So now why is this? Well, this is because the law was designed to give as much leeway as possible to the entrepreneur. So leeway to determine how to structure their business. But even if it doesn't say explicitly, there are some factors that you can look into
Mhm.
to help you make that decision. Now there are four factors, Attorney Irwin, or that we've identified. There could be more, but these are the ones that we want to focus on. So the first factor is to think about is the who. Who are the people involved in your team producing and delivering the product or service that you sell? So who is in the business basically? Are you in the business by yourself or do you have partners? Now, if you have partners, what kind of partners do you have? Do they contribute money? That could be a partner, or do they contribute work and expertise, or both money and work and expertise? Or and this happens a lot. We see this a lot. Are they in the business just because they're part of the family or part of your barkada? So you have to think about these things.
And kung sakaling walang contribution, mahirap na maging partner kung sakali.
Mhm.
And alam mo, Attorney Ramon, may maganda akong sagot sa ganong klaseng partner.
Ano yan, sir?
Who you? Di ba?
Yung walang ambag.
Oo.
I used to be like that. In high school or college, I used to be part of the group, and I just bought their merienda or something.
So when you're putting up a business, our advice, be very particular about who you let in your.
Yep. Now, if you have partners, and I mean real partners, this is a pretty good indication that you may want to take your business to the next level and explore the most appropriate business vehicle or structure for you. Okay? Now, but if you're doing the business by yourself, then you may have a lot more thinking to do. Okay, so that's the first who. Another who to consider is employees. Do you have employees or do you do it by yourself? Running a business, guys, is hard enough as it is. As an entrepreneur, I'm sure you guys can relate. You have to wear many hats. You have to wear the marketing hat. You have to wear the production hat and the operations hat. Now, if you register a company or whatever entity, you will have the added responsibility of giving regular reports to the government. So, it would really help you out if you already have a strategically positioned employee or employees to help you with the responsibilities of marketing, production, and operations. Now, the last tool to consider is outside services. If you don't have enough employees yet, you may have to use outside services or what we call
Outsourcing.
outsourcing. Yeah. So ask yourself, do you have access to quality outside services who can help you run the business? Now, guys, I mentioned the word quality, not just outside services, but quality outside services. Now, these will normally be who? Your maybe your accountants, your bookkeepers, a legal team, or various kinds of consultants. Okay, so that is the first factor. The second factor is the what. What is or what are your transactions and what is the level of risks or risk in your transactions? Now, all businesses involve some level of risk, and as the saying goes, the more risk, the more rewards, and the less risk, the less rewards. Diba? That's why bank interest is so low because they're very safe.
That's true.
Yeah. But if the risk in your transactions are low, then maybe it might not make sense to form a company yet. On the other hand, if the risks are at a level where maybe you could lose your car or your home or even possibly your life savings, then maybe it's time to start planning and explore forming a company. And this is because a company or a corporation, as we call it in the Philippines, will be able to give you more protection to the entrepreneur.
So pag medyo lumilevel yung legal exposure, that's a good time to start thinking about the company at Ramon.
Yes. Oo. Now, as a side note, the level of transactions, or let's say the monetary values of your transactions, or your like your revenues and expenses, these can also determine the taxes that need to be paid by the business. Okay. So depending on your situation, starting a company may or may not be a good idea. To help you evaluate the tax angle, you may want to consult with your trusty accountant or maybe even a tax lawyer. Okay, so that is factor number two. Now we go to the third factor. What is the third factor, Attorney Irwin?
That is the why.
The why, or why are you doing the business that you're in? Are you doing it only as a sideline or a side hustle, or are you in this for the long haul? Is it temporary or permanent? Are you looking to replace your employment income um, or make it your main source of income? Diba? So we need to determine these things. It's important to answer this question because obviously, if it's just a mere side hustle, then maybe the hassle of setting up a company or an entity and maintaining it is not worth it. It's no joke, guys, to maintain a company. It's even less of a joke to be in the government's radar because now you'll be required to submit regular reports, and you might, at some point, you might even be audited, right? So it's not a joke. But if your intention is long term and you want to grow your business and have it eventually replace your job income, then it's probably a good indication that we need to take it to the next level and maybe start a new company or an entity, right? Now, the last factor is the how.
Mhm.
How am I going to get there? How am I going to level up? Or even more specifically, which vehicle can I use to level up my business?
Again, this is a business decision. Ano ang diskarte mo?
Mhm.
Okay?
Now, just to give you a quick overview, there are several basic vehicles that a business can use. There's the sole proprietorship, the partnership, and the corporation, or loosely called the company. In a nutshell, a sole proprietorship, just to give you an idea, is basically you're by yourself. You're by yourself. You're doing the business. You own the business. You own the assets of the business, and the personality of the business, and you. It's the same.
Mhm.
Okay. In a partnership, it gets a little more. Now you have team members. No? You have a partner from the word. It's at least two people, two or more people forming a partnership, putting together their resources like their money and their expertise together, and they do business together. It's pretty much like our partnership, Attorney Irwin.
Yes.
In our law practice, legal access law offices, well, we have a partnership. Okay. And then lastly, there's what you call a corporation. I think this is the most ano ba, kilala, or this is the most popular kind of business vehicle. So the corporation used to be formed by a minimum of five people. Five people. Now with the new law, you can form a corporation by yourself as well. It's what you call a one person or OPC
Yes.
corporation. Okay. Now each of these vehicles will have their own pros and cons. It's important to have a good understanding of the characteristics of these vehicles to see which is the most appropriate for you. Now, if you would like to know more about these vehicles, where can they go, Attorney Irwin?
They can go to info.legalguy.ph/business. Right. So, Attorney Ramon, let's do a recap. We covered a lot of things. First off is the who. Who are the people around you? Sino ba yung kasama sa negosyo? You have to be able to determine that and choose carefully. Next is the what. What is the level of your risk and your transactions? Very important for you to be aware of the level of legal exposure because that will determine ano yung bagay na business structure for you.
Right.
Third is, why are you doing this? What's your purpose? Is this just a side hustle or pangmatagalan? If it's for the long term, you might want to put in very deep foundations to sustain the growth of your business. And finally, we talked about the how. How are you going to get there? What kind of business structure will you be utilizing for your purposes? If you want us to tackle your question in our show, go to legalguide.ph and click the submit topic button. Next, we'd like to know what's your biggest takeaway from today's episode? Write it down in the comments and let's talk about it. And if you feel we've earned a good rating, please give us a like and subscribe. It gives us feedback that we're doing a good job and encourages us to do more videos.
One last thing, guys. We do our best to encourage entrepreneurs and support them. And why is this? Well, you may not realize it, but by putting up a healthy and well-structured business, you're not only helping yourself. There's actually a ripple effect going on. You're helping your customers with your goods and services, and you're creating employment opportunities for future employees. Now, by making your corner of the world a better place, you contribute to a stronger world. So wasn't that simple? Now go make better choices.